Nagod, Galiele Jakedo Kohig. Welcome to Cherokee 3 here on RSU TV. My name is Wade, and I'm very happy to be here.
Okay. Ayan, Jakeyu Kala Stawadon, Ayan Galiele Jakedo.
All right, so last class we made it through our whole book, or our whole story about the possum, and as we were going through it, I didn't think it was that long a story, but there's a lot.
Right.
There is quite a bit there.
Yeah.
So hopefully you've been enjoying it and you've been getting lots of good vocabulary out of it. Today, we're not moving on to another story. We're going to stay with this story and we're going to read through it several times. We're going to talk about some of the words. I may have Miss Peggy quiz me a little bit because some of these words are brand new to me too. So, you know, that helps me because it gives me a reason to learn, you know, because Miss Peggy's going to test me on it, and that's a reason. And so, because as we talked about last time, our brains tend to learn those things that it needs. And so if it needs the language, if you can create situations where you need the language, then you're going to be more apt to remember it and remember it easier. And that's why I've always been a big proponent of, I know some tribes up north, they do all of their tribal business in their language.
Oh,
They
okay.
hold all their council meetings and do all of that. They do all of that in their language. And so that encourages those that are not speakers, if they ever want to go into tribal politics, they have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, well, that's creating a need, you know, which helps in learning language. So someday I think it would be nice if all the Cherokee tribes, if the UKB, Cherokee Nation, and the Eastern Band all would have their tribal council meetings in Cherokee. That would be really cool.
Yes, it would.
Now, for the UKB, I know that you are on council for UKB. How many UKB tribal council members are currently speakers?
Speakers, let's see. We have Frankie Steele from Stillwell. That is, what district is that? Flint District. He's a speaker. And then we have Mr. Catron, Junior Catron, he is Sequoia District. He speaks. We have the chief. He speaks. Then we have Joyce Hawk she's a secretary. She speaks some. Have Mr. Smoke from the Delaware District. He speaks. Myself, and then we have Alvin Hicks in the Tahlequah districts that speaks some. Now we have a Canadian District. Eddie Sachs, he's not a speaker.
No.
Yeah, so we have at least, what, 5?
More than half.
Yeah, more than half.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And do you have your meetings in Cherokee, or do you do them both since not everyone's a speaker?
We will talk, among, like Frankie might ask me a question in Cherokee, or Smoke we might kind of talk a little bit about what we're talking about in Cherokee, only not to keep others out of it, but just so we can, come to an agreement between ourselves, because the ones that are speakers are probably older than the ones that are not speakers.
Right.
I know that I'm older than, probably most of them that's on there, but I still feel like it's important for them to hear,
Absolutely.
That, and they at first, it was kind of like they were kind of caught off guard, but now we'll throw some Cherokee in there sometimes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the secretary is always wanting to do to call roll. How Eastern Band does, call roll in Cherokee to each district and the person, and that's what her plan is to get all that together.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So I think that would be a start.
Well, absolutely, and that's definitely fairly easily doable.
Right.
Because it's fairly kind of rote and formulaic. It's not going to change. You're not going to have to adjust the language on the fly. So as a learner, if you can memorize that vocabulary, then you're taking a really big step forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool. Wonderful. So come, Idalena, chalagi diwoni. Kohig sutaline chalagi adelo kwasti. Today is our 6th Cherokee lesson. So originally, I had planned that we were going to, for our reading selection today, I was going to take a page out of the Cherokee Almanac. Which I found to be a hoot and a half, and it was really funny to kind of read through it, even as a learner myself, and we will do that eventually. But then since we had my grandma's driver's ed book, and we were kind of looking through it and stuff, I was like, well, this would be kind of fun because I also have a copy of the same driver's ed manual in English. And so, I had noticed in here that they had a diagram, and it had the different parts of the important parts, apparently, of the car. It didn't have the motor, it doesn't have the wheels or the tires, but it has different parts of the car listed on there. And I was like, well, that would be kind of cool for our learners to know the different parts of a car.
Right.
So, because I would like to know. And so I read my way through there, and I could read almost all of them, and I could figure out what almost all of them meant. So I thought that would be fun. And so let's do that today.
Okay.
we'll see how that goes. So, all right. So here is the page from the driver's ed manual. And of course, as you can see, this is an awesome car diagram.
I remember riding in a car like that.
Yeah, well, I think my grandparents had a car like this. It was a Bel Air, and and it had the fins, and this is awesome. So, of course, the stapler kind of, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then of course we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you don't mind, I'll try to read my best, and then we'll try to kind of translate it. This is a, g, ye. We know now. This is ye. Did, a good deed. The front, in the front.
Yeah.
Right. Just lights. And then this is a parentheses. I was trying to make this tli, and then I looked at the original. I was like, oh no, it's just a parentheses. So it says galelat, high, ale, elat.
Okay.
And high, so high and low beams, right?
Yes. Yes. Right.
So that's the forward lights, high and low.
Right. Yes. The front lights are good. You did. Yeah. The higher, and when you said the high or low, back then those cars didn't have like your headlights up here and then down here the other lights.
Yeah,
it's just one light.
Yeah.
That was bright and dim.
And they got bright and dim.
Okay, yeah. And that's what it is up there in the front. The front lights that are high and low. Yeah.
Okay, so we got that one.
Okay.
Number 2. This says D da kid, D da kid, D ga na galanski. Okay. So I know the second word, D ga na galanski, that's a cleaner, right? That's to clean.
Something cleans, okay? And that first word, D da keti.
That's like isn't that like a mirror?
Yes, a keti is a mirror. Keti is like the where you look through. That's what it's saying.
So the windshield.
Yes.
The windshield.
Yeah, the what is that? What cleans the windshield?
And that would be the wipers.
The wipers, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that would be the windshield wipers.
Right, right.
Okay, so could you say the windshield for me again?
Keti.
And
that's just the anything that you look through or anything that you look at or whatever, and that's what it's that's the windshield, keti.
Okay, and then diganagalaski is the cleaner.
The cleaner, yes.
Yeah, it
yes.
cleans it. So, and then of course number 3. So that's number 2, and it's right there. So,
okay. And that's the wipers, right? Number 2 is the wipers.
Yep. Number 2 is the wipers.
Okay.
So now we know how to say windshield wipers. And then number 3 says adaketi. Okay, and that's of course the mirror.
Yeah.
In this case, and the only reason I know that is because it's pointing there. So.
Okay.
Adaketi.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Adaketi. Yes. Correct.
Okay. And then I love this word, number 4. This is uyon, and that's the horn,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Now I have no idea how I knew that that's what that was, but I know that's what that is. But can't tell you why I know.
Well, there's people with that name. That Uhyon. I know a gentleman that's his Cherokee name.
Oh,
and,
really?
And it could be whenever they talk about a cow and the horn.
The cow horn,
the
right?
Horn, yeah.
I think that's how I know.
Yeah, it probably is.
Because it's and I find that interesting, and so to me that it's obvious for the speakers. Of course, a horn on a car is a new word, because it's something that never existed before. And so, but because it shares the name with like a cow horn, they don't do the same thing.
Right.
But translators just were like, well, we just call it uhyun.
Yeah. Because that's, and way back in the day, I remember seeing where they used to use horns. Did they not?
Oh yeah, they blow on them. Yeah,
yeah,
they did. Yeah.
So I'm sure that that somehow that was
all tracks back.
Yeah, all tracks back to something like that.
Yeah, I bet it does. Yeah. And I think for you as learners, I think this is an easy word to remember because it kind of sounds like horn.
Yeah.
Uhyun.
Yeah.
Horn.
Yeah. And then it could be another one of those words that was English that kind of made it Cherokee. Into Cherokee.
Cherokee-ized it.
Yeah.
Could be. Now, is this the word? So far, we've gone through 4. Did you know before the words for parts of a car, and were they the same, or were there any that were different?
I didn't. I never knew the parts of a car.
Yeah.
When we were growing up.
Right. Yeah.
When I had a car, and we didn't have a car.
Right,
there wasn't. We
exactly.
weren't the kind that. It wasn't until I got older that I realized that we had an old truck, but I didn't know the parts of it. Nobody
Didn't
sat around and talked about it. Now I knew about the wheels when we had a flat tire. I knew about that, but like the lights, the headlights, the horn, nothing. We didn't really. That wasn't anything that was spoken about.
But that's the awesome thing about Cherokee is that even though but it all describes.
Right.
So immediately, even though you didn't know the term for it, you knew what it was.
I know what it was. Because
it described it.
Yeah, it described what it was. Yes, exactly.
Like the windshield cleaner.
Right.
We know that's the wipers.
Yeah.
All right. So and then, this one's interesting. Owoyeni gadote digana lode. Okay. Now, this last word I don't know, but this one, owoyen, that's hand.
Hand.
Gadote, used for, right?
Yeah, okay.
It's used for.
Yeah.
Tiganadlote. Is that to stop? Is that
It's
something
kind
to
of
do
like
with?
it has to kind of like the brake. I've heard them talk that that's the brake.
Yes.
Yeah, so that has to do with, maybe that's that. What do you call that?
It's the handbrake.
Yeah,
Yes.
that brake that you had.
Yeah, if we look at the picture here, that is the handbrake.
Yeah.
So it's the brake used by the hand,
Right,
or is
right.
it the hand is used for braking it?
Well, okay, it's use your hand
Use
to
your
break
hand.
it. Yeah, to break it.
Yeah.
It's how it's written up there.
Yeah. So that's the word for handbrake.
What's the name of that brake that you put on? Nowadays
Now
you
we call
step
it-
on it.
Yeah.
What do you call that brake? You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Back on this side. It's on this
Oh,
side.
the parking brake?
Yeah.
Is that what we call it?
I don't know. But I know back in the day, I think, was it one that you used your hand? And
There
you
was,
put it?
well, and there
oh,
still
yeah,
are.
the ones that do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then
okay.
some of them had the parking brake.
Yeah.
Today we call it parking brake.
Yeah.
But there were 3 pedals,
Yeah.
and it was oh no, that's the clutch.
Yeah.
But there used to be one that you pushed
Yeah,
in
yeah.
on the far left,
Yeah.
and it would kind of stick there, and then
Right.
you had to pull
Something
to release
undo
it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking about that nowadays. But back then, I guess you used a
Maybe the
hand
handbrake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and then here says the next one, number 6. Oh, we're looking at a pedal.
Uh-oh.
So Allah stood.
Allah stud.
That's
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah, it's something you
Is
step on.
step on,
Yeah,
right?
you step on something. Yeah.
And then tigana glosti.
Okay.
Tigana glosti. So that's your
another brake.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one you mash on.
Yeah,
the
that's
foot,
the actual
foot brake.
brake. Yeah, that you use your foot with.
Yeah. Okay.
The other one you use your hand. This one you use your foot. Okay.
So see, even though we don't know, we can figure it
Wow,
out because
yeah.
we kind of know. So would you go ahead and read the handbrake and
Okay.
the foot brake?
Oh, it say wo yeni, right? Or is that wo yeni kết tổ ti, they gonna close, they gonna set na close ti.
Yeah.
They're gonna close ti.
I think they left the s
Yeah.
because
They're gonna
in the
close
next
ti.
one, yeah,
It does have that s in there, isn't it?
yeah, and it has it in the
Okay,
second one.
okay.
So
Then it says Allah. Is that
stood.
stud? That's okay.
Yeah.
I can't read that. Allah stud thing. They're gonna close thing, and that makes more
Yeah.
sense when you put that s
The
sound
s
in
in
there.
there.
And it does. The other one doesn't have that sound up there.
Yeah. So digana glosti.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then we have here number 7,
Mm-hmm.
right here. Oh, so okay. So this is la we. I think that we would say today we would say tlawe.
Okay.
Tlawe. Igane. Usquanoyagai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ehlawe.
Usquanoyagai. So etlawe, quiet.
Quiet.
Igane. Igana.
Ehlawe igane. Make it quiet.
Makes it quiet.
Yeah, makes it quiet.
Usquana.
Usquano.
Yagai.
Yeah, the noise that it makes.
Ah.
Yeah, or it makes it quiet. The noise that it makes.
Aha. And of course, what on a car?
Okay, that to me, I can understand that. Yeah,
Doing it that way.
Yeah,
And of course, what makes the noise that a car makes? What makes it quiet?
it's the muffler.
Would be the muffler.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right.
So that's the word for muffler.
And it's describing what it does. And see, remember
Yeah.
we talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, there's not just one word for muffler like it is in English.
Yeah.
We have to describe what it does.
Yeah.
It makes the noise quiet.
Yeah,
Or it makes
and really, that's what muffler
Right.
means. To muffle
Right.
something means
Right.
to make quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's genius.
Yes,
It's
it is.
genius.
Very,
It's just
very.
hilarious. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So, could you read muffler for us one time?
Okay. Ehlawe igane usquanohiakani.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, number 8. So we're towards the back of the car. So on title, yep, in the back. D just
Okay.
lights.
Lights.
Ale, and gonna glosti.
Okay.
And brakes.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
So I think what they're saying is it's the rear and brake lights.
Yes. The back lights and the brake lights. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, it seems strange to me as a speaker of English to put the words in that order, but
Yeah. I think, and to me, like that other one where we talked about that muffler up there, when I put that,
when you flipped it,
yeah, it made more sense in my head what it was.
Yeah.
And I think that it makes sense that way, but to say it the way that it made sense in my head, that's what made me think of more what it was
yeah,
than the way it was written.
with the way it was, yeah. So, on tid,
On tidla.
to me, on tid ale, gonna close the just, to me would make more sense as an English speaker.
Right.
Just because the backlights and the stopping and the brake lights
Or lights.
are
The
lights,
back
yeah.
and the brake are lights.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what that's saying is back, lights, and brake.
Yeah.
And see, if they would put lights at the end of that brake,
just.
it might have made more sense. You know.
Yeah.
On tidla, just alle kan close. Yeah. Just. We can.
Just,
Yeah. If we
yeah.
put that at the end, it makes. But we understand what it is.
And maybe they just ran out of room. They're like, oh, we're not going to
yeah,
write it. They'll
yeah.
figure it out.
They know what that means. We're not gonna put that in there.
We're not
Which
gonna
we
put
did, which we
Yeah,
did, but
yeah.
we're kind of critiquing what they.
Yeah, really.
But we understand what it says.
Yeah,
that's
and so
the
it
main
gets the
thing.
job
yes,
done.
it does.
And then I love this word, gatid.
Okay.
So I'll just.
Okay.
And again, I know what it is because I looked in the back. But gatid, I know like the word pear, dikatid, and it means it's hanging. And so gatid.
Katod, something that hangs, something you hang is what it is. Katod. Okay, it could be hang clothes, it could be whatever. But in this case, we're talking about
The license plate.
Yeah, the tag.
The tag, yeah. Because, of course, I guess we still kind of hang the tag now, but especially back then, it kind of hung, didn't it? I mean, it kind of hung down.
Yeah. Katod, yeah. Alle, adjust. Okay, and the light is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about the light that you have to have that light on that tag.
On the tag,
Yes.
And apparently, even back here in 19 whatever, you had to have a light.
Yeah. And I've gotten stopped because I didn't have a light one time.
Me too. Me too.
So it was very important.
So now you guys know several parts of a car, and we know them now as well. So we can talk about our license tag is expired, or or the light's gone out, or whatever. So I thought that would be a lot of fun.
Good,
That one was a fun one.
Yes,
I enjoyed
like
that. All right.
I want that page.
Yes, I will send it.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be a great one for your
Yeah.
your class. Would be a great page. It's just.
We could discuss it all.
Oh,
whole week.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe longer. Yeah.
And
draw that picture up there on the board.
Absolutely, make a big poster of it. And
True.
Could play pin the part on the car.
What word up there means uhyon or uhyon? What was it?
Uhyon.
Uhyon. Yeah.
Uhyon.
Okay.
Yeah. And so here we have the story that we have been working on in its entirety, and hopefully I have remembered all of the punctuation, but I may not have. And if I didn't, then we'll go through and fix it.
Okay.
But, pardon me. So this is the whole story that we've been learning. So let's see. Let me try and read through it.
Okay.
and let me see if I can make
Okay.
my way through it.
And we'll just do sentence by sentence, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. It'd be easier, I think, if we did it
Yeah,
sentence
I
by
think
sentence.
so.
And, yeah.
And this is also for those of you who maybe are someday thinking about being a teacher or something like that. A really great strategy that you can do after you've taught something is, rather than put it in a paragraph form like this, if you do it like as a bulleted list of just single sentences. Even though it's still the same,
Right.
and it's all the
Right.
same words, our brains don't freak out.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I know probably with you, you know, if you were to give your kids this big old paragraph, they would probably flip.
Right.
They'd be like, oh
Exactly.
my gosh, there's no
Yes.
way I could do that. However, if you just put every sentence one to a line and put a little dot in front of it, it's not nearly as
Right.
intimidating.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
then our brains are like, okay, we can do it one line
Yeah.
by one line.
Right. Right.
So those of you that are wanting to be a teacher or a language teacher or anything like that, that's a strategy that you can use before you give them a full paragraph. And it's what I probably should have done, but I skipped ahead.
Yeah.
So hopefully next time I'll put a bulleted list and we'll
Okay.
demonstrate that and how that
Okay.
works. Okay, so this says, Ilan hiu tsuge sa si kwa uje sti e he. Okay, so a long time ago, there was a possum. Do you wo do ge se gani da da. Okay, so really pretty was his tail. Gani da da ni gola ad look ste se kwa uje sti. Always Nicola Ganita, always his tail, he was bragging. The possum. So
Right,
the possum was
right.
always bragging about his tail.
Yes.
Ulsinus, in the evenings at night.
When it was getting night.
When
yeah.
it was getting night, Gani Dutta, his tail all towards, he would comb his tail. Ale kikake asti kalawe stisko, and a red string. Ganidata. He wound around. Ganidata was wound around his tail.
His tail. Yes.
Ugijiska. Ayege. Ali ski si all ski si do he all ski si do he ganita de ali helige de kanogiska. Okay, so in the mornings he woke up and he danced around all ski si do he he danced around. Ganita de Ali Helige de Kanogiska. He would sing about appreciating his tail, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Ni God Kla Yiduni look de odd lookska. Everyone didn't like his bragging. Adele Quastida, a lesson. Adele Quastida, Duni Wuk Tane. They decided un de hyoti to teach him. They decided to teach him a lesson. Talatu Wunita hyotle, gohust udati. Okay, so the cricket, they asked him, Wunita hyotle, gohust to do something. So they asked the cricket to do something. Usa nulstana. When night came, taladu wulutse, wulutse. The cricket arrived. Ujetsti juwenasa at the possum's house,
Right.
or where the possum
Where the
lived.
possum lived.
Nuwandese, gikake ost, ula west. So he took it off. Gikake, the red, ost string, ula west, that was wound around there, right? Taladu, wugalse, ujetsti, ganidata, ustika. Oh, yes, okay, got it. Okay, taladu, wugalse. He cut, the cricket cut.
Cricket cut.
Ujetsti, ganidata, ustika, the possum's tail hair.
Yes.
The hair on the possum's tail. Gigage, ost, red string, ula westana. He wound it around, or he wrapped it up.
Wrapped it up.
Ula westana, ganida, the tail. So he wrapped up the tail in a red string. Uyeta, ujetsti. When the possum woke up, klayunte, gohus nulstani dola. He didn't know something happened. Nuwandese, he unwrapped, gigage ost, the red string, unagosa, gesa, ustika, unagosa, gesa. I remember now. Ustika, and the hair fell off.
Right.
The hair fell off.
Yeah.
Unagosa. The hair fell off. Uyela, gese, ganita. His tail was naked. Doyu, udehose. Really embarrassed. Uyela, naked, ganita, tail, jagesa. He was really embarrassed that his tail was bare,
Right.
was naked. No usai yinulstani kila ganu golgon. So now he only comes out at night. When night approaches,
Right,
or when
right.
night comes. Si uyela ganita de geson, and still his tail is bare,
Right.
naked.
Naked.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
Very
Wow.
good.
So that's a long story.
Yes, it is.
Now, I think, one of the things I would love to hear, somebody take this story just like this, because it's not very, I mean, yes, it looks long, but
Right,
it's
right.
not really that long. I would love to see like somebody running for Miss Katua or Miss Cherokee. Wouldn't it be cool for them to use
Right.
this as their talent to tell
Correct.
this story? Oh, in Cherokee, I
Yes.
think that would be
Yes.
awesome. I would love that. I would make them win immediately. I'd be like, oh, well, you win automatically. Anyway, so would you go ahead and read the story for us? Because
Okay.
because I had to kind of stumble through here.
Okay.
So
I may have to pause every now and then, but I'm going to take it sentence by sentence, just like you did, okay? Okay. Ilahiyu chigesa sikwa ujetsti ehe. Doyu uwodu gese ganidata. Ganidata nigola adler gwiske sikwa ujetsti. Ulsa Ulsa. Ulsinösa. That I forgot that C in there. That no.
I do that too.
Ulsinösa. Negada.
See, you do. I do the same thing.
Yeah. Ganita.
I do the exact same thing.
Okay, let's start again. Ulsinösa. Ganita. Ali altawoske. Ale gigage. Asti. Galewestisko. Ganita. Agijiska. Ajege. Aliski si do he. Alski si do he. Oh, let's start again.
Okay.
Okay. Ugi jiska. Ajege. Alski si do he. Ganita ali helige. Dekanogiska. Nigada kla iduni lukte. Adløquiska. Adel lo quasti da. Adel quasti da. Du nuk tane. Una dejotti. Taladu wuni tayole. Go hust udanti. Usa nuls tanna. Usa nuls tanna. Taladu wuluche ujetsti. Juenasa. New one. Okay, new one. They say new one. New one. No, they. What can I say?
You took it off.
Yeah, I took it off. New. They say something. There's.
New one day.
New one. They say. I can't say it. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
New one. They say. Yeah, there it is. Nu want se gigage osti. Ula waste. Taladu wugalse ujetsti. Ganidata ustika. Gigage osti. Ula waste. Ganidata. Ujeja. Ujetsti la junte go hust ulstanidole. Nuantes gigage ost unagosa gesa ustika. There it is. Unagosa gesa ustika. Uyela gese ganidata. Do you de hose. Uyela ganidata jigesa. No usa I yenuls tani killa ganugogo. Si uyela ganidata geso.
Excellent, wonderful.
That one line right there just floored me from no end. Nu wantese. There it is. Nu wantese. I kept looking at it, and it just wouldn't click.
Well, it's so funny that every time you came to tail, you wanted to switch the ga and the ni, because I would do the same thing.
Yeah,
I would come to that word and I would want to say nigata every time. And I was like, nope, that's not it. And I would have to go back and think again. But this is you know, I have to admit, I'm a very lazy person, and and like on on Facebook, of course, there are lots of language, and when somebody posts all in syllabary, I don't even bother reading it because it's so much work,
Right, right.
But I know I have
Yes,
to do it to
yes,
get better.
yeah.
And we were just talking
Yeah.
about our kids and grandkids and how they don't like to read because it's so much work. And I can identify with that because that's how I am with reading Cherokee, because I'm not good at it yet,
Right.
and I have to really labor my way through it.
Yeah, and sometimes some days I'm like that. You
Yeah.
know, but like this story, I like it so much. No matter how no matter how who tells it or how it's written, I like the story.
Yes.
And I can tell this story to the kids, and we can talk about this story, and we can tear it all apart and figure out why was this story written? Why do you think it was written? What was wrong that they had to teach the Ujetsty a lesson? So and that's why the story was, when you said we were going to do this, I was excited about doing it. Yeah, because I like the story.
Yeah, I do too, and it's probably one of the first stories I ever learned, and now I'm so happy to know it in Cherokee, because it does add an extra depth to it,
Right.
to have it in the
Right.
language,
Right.
And like I said, I would just love for people to take this and use it as a starting point
Right.
to start telling this story in Cherokee. And I think that they could tell this story using actions, and they could even use puppets. And even if you're telling it to a group that are not speakers, they would still understand
Right.
what's
Right.
going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I would like to see that happen. So those of you that if you're watching this show, I would like to challenge you to tell this story in Cherokee and send it to me. I would
Right.
love to
Yes.
see it.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yes.
especially those of you that are storytellers or like to tell stories, or those of you that run for Miss Cherokee or Miss Katua. Is it Miss Katua or
Yes,
the okay? Or something like that. Use this. Use our language, because I know a lot of people use tell stories as their talent, but how much more special would it be if
Right.
they would do it in Cherokee? And this
Right.
is doable. This is
Yes.
what, less than 20 sentences,
Right.
I think that somebody could probably memorize it in probably a week or so.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. If you could, and I know that's and like you were saying, if you can, separate it and put it in that way, and then learn it a line at a time.
Yeah.
And you will know if you get off track, if you forget a line or whatever, because then it's not going to make sense. Because the more you read this, the more it's going to make sense to you, and
Yeah.
it's going to be in what order that it's supposed to stay in. So yeah, and you're right. I think I would love to see someone do puppets.
Yeah,
Do
I
a
think
little
that would
play,
be really cool.
Using this part of it, and the animals, talk to each other and say different things.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be really,
I
really
might
cool.
have to use that as one of my lessons at school. That we might end up doing something like that.
That would be awesome. That would be amazing.
Yeah, especially my Cherokee 2 kids.
Yeah.
I think would be good.
Absolutely. And and another thing for those of you that are thinking about being teachers, or those of you that are just wanting to find different ways to learn this, an activity that I find to be a lot of fun is to take this, like you said, sentence by sentence, and then cut it up. Cut it into each individual sentence, mix them up, and then take the sentences and put them in sequential order.
Right. Right.
It's a lot of fun. And if you have a group of people, you can make a game out of it, like we did with Miss Helen Henry. I will never forget, as long as I live. We did this, but what I did was I took every sentence and I posted it up outside of the room that we were in, and they would go in teams. And one person would go out and they would memorize the sentence, they would come back and they would tell their group, somebody in the group would write it down the way that they told it, and then once they had them all, then they would put them into order. And I found out that Miss Helen, that all I had to do is every time she came in the door, I would just call her name and she would forget the sentence that she had just learned. And
And she didn't figure that out till a little while.
And so then she would forget, and then she'd have to go back out. She'd come back in, and I'd be like, Helen. And she'd be like, what? And then she'd forget again. She'd have to go back out. And so there are lots of ways to make learning fun. And that was, like I said, as long as I live, I will never, ever forget that. So anyway, but what I would like to do is, we've got 3 or 4 minutes left. Would you pick out some words, and I'll see if I can remember what they are in Yonig.
Okay. Let's see. Let's start with the easy one.
Oh, good.
Lahiyujigesa.
Long time ago.
Yes.
That one I know.
Yeah. Then we have Ganidota.
Ganidota, his tail.
Yes. Okay. Then we have Oddlokske.
Oddlokske. Oh, Oddlokske. He was bragging.
Yes. Okay. How about Galawestiske?
Galawestiske.
Ganidota. Let's add that on there. You might get that.
Wound it, coiled up.
Yes, wrapping around. Yeah, Ganidota.
Yes.
His tail.
His tail.
Okay, all right. How about Ugijiska?
Ugijiska. Ugijiska is like when mornings come.
Right, at daybreak. Good. And that's a new one for me too, so that was something. We have time for one more?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the one that we had trouble with. What was that?
Nuwandese.
Yeah, Nuwandese. Nuwandese.
And that's to take it off.
Take off, yes.
To take off,
yes.
Nuwandese.
Okay, all right.
Wonderful.
Good.
All right. So, and you can do this. I mean, you don't have to have a Miss Peggy with you, to do this yourself. You can take it, you can print it out, and you can just close your eyes and point, and whatever your finger point lands on, try to remember what it is.
Right.
I find that for myself, like, for example, that the word ukichiska, I couldn't think of it right away, and so I looked on the page, and I found where it was, and then I was like, oh, I can use the context of where it was in this paragraph, and I was like, oh, now I know what it is.
Yes.
You know, and that's okay. That
sometimes
helps
you
you
have
learn.
to have that. Yeah, that. And what does they say in English? You have to have that. Sometimes
have a helper, context.
Yeah, context clues. Yeah. And that's true. Same way in Cherokee. You learn how you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you know it, you won't need those helpers, and you'll just know it.
You'll know it.
Yeah. So I was really, really happy to do this story. I think it's a fun story. I think it's a great story to start off our Cherokee 3 with. And I just want to say wadon. Thank you, Peggy, for helping not only translate the story, but for coming and helping us work our way through it. So from all of us here at RSU TV, I just want to say wadon, don't dago ha'i.
Come on. Don't dago ha'i.